Hi, Joanna.
Hi.
We've been waiting for you to start, so I'm going to read the,
I was in the waiting room.
okay, sorry.
Okay,
I've established that we have a quorum. As a preliminary matter, this is Dorothy Hertz, Chair of the Contract Review Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Veronica? Here. John?
Here.
Bert?
Here.
Joanna? Sue?
here,
Joanna?
here,
Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Ann?
here,
Jericho?
In attendance.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Elise?
here,
Jacqueline?
here,
Nicole?
Here,
Great. Good afternoon. This is the open meeting of the Contract Review Committee being conducted pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. This meeting of the CRC is conveyed by both video conference and in person. Sorry, as posted on the town's website and identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, question, or motions. Please hold until your name is called further. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so to the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Items for public comment. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Right, and how we've been doing it, Jacqueline and Nicole's been at a few of these, is we've actually allowed public comment without, it's been a generating just conversation, which we've seen to flow. Sometimes it's hard for us to see that somebody might have the hand up, so if you wait for somebody, you can then interject. We found that it's working quite eloquently for us. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
so moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, Sue,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Veronica,
Aye.
Joanna,
I,
Bert.
Aye.
Okay. And I say, I will like to add something that came up before. We will have Julie Kehoe, as she's going to come and speak to us on this today with some, I think, some really exciting and incredible news for all of us. So at some point, she's in a meeting till around 3, so just everybody knows I'm adding that to the agenda because I didn't really have time to put that into the agenda. Okay. And we can go forward. Joanna.
yes. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are we doing with answers to the questionnaires?
So we have the questionnaire out and sent. I have one confirmed response so far. It's gone out through the CFN with the due date of the I believe the 30th still, either 28th, 9th, or 30th, depending on the day.
Okay,
And then just one complete response so far, but it hasn't gotten popped out to social media yet either.
Do you know who that response was from?
Me testing it.
Oh, you testing?
Yeah. Making sure it worked.
Okay, so we have, and it's gone out to all the agencies?
It should have gone out through the email list at
it
CFN.
did. It did. I got it. Mhm.
It did, and I had sent mine in also.
Okay, and then we also have your RFEI and that came in as well. So that was the first response for the full RFEI that we sent out as well.
Nice.
Those are going to go into a shared drive along with the returns from the survey we can all take a look at.
So
And
we-
what about the press release?
I haven't seen it.
I sent it.
yeah, I sent it to you Friday.
Did I? Then I will take a look at it and then send it over to Florencia and Libby for confirmation. They say that usually takes about 12, like it should be a 1 working day. The only thing is so were we gonna adjust the date because we didn't get that Monday meeting in?
Didn't we adjust the date to the 12th of, or to the 8th of June?
Yeah,
We did.
and then we didn't get the Monday meeting out for it to be approved and sent out, so that's less time than we had anticipated.
So, okay, well, if we want to make that change, we should probably discuss it.
Change to the date on,
Just push it back a week from the day that we had set up in the press release to recover or to return RFEIs.
Did it go out?
It didn't, it hasn't gone out yet, because I haven't, we were gonna review it on last Monday. And then when I get the document, I was gonna send it to, as per the current media protocol, to send it to Florencia and the comms department for checking and then to send it out.
So he's saying we haven't voted on it yet. Is that what you're saying?
I think we had voted to agree for the June 8th date for returns, but that was assuming that we released it last Monday.
Gotcha.
right, but I think I sent the press release prior to last Monday's meeting and canceled last Monday.
Yeah.
Then if you say, I have not seen, let me double check. From. So I have the PowerPoint slide and the survey questions. And then the RFI document and survey questions from 5-4.
I sent it last Monday, press release to you.
So that would be,
I sent it to both Jennifer and Ann. It says, here you go.
I have the RFI document, the survey questions. Here
I
you
sent
go.
it to you too. I sent it to you on May 15th.
And I sent it Monday with the here you go, which is May 15th.
Town ate it.
Shouldn't have.
Well, I sent it to
On the
Ann too.
15th,
May 15th. It says it was delivered.
I have no attachments from either of you guys on the 15th.
Yeah, I sent it with an attachment right here.
All right, well,
Can you check your junk?
If it ended up in my, I don't actually have a junk folder here.
Here, look, Jericho. I'm gonna resend it right now so you can, everybody can see it. Okay, I'm just gonna resend it to him right now. And I'll send it to you, Ann, as well.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
Okay, I just sent it. Hey, Bert, for the first time, I could tell you, it would be nice to have the air conditioning working in here today.
We did finally hit that threshold.
I thought you might say they finally took the air conditioners out today.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
I just resent it
I sent-
myself.
From the January Joe account?
Yep.
And I just sent
with
it,
attachment.
I just sent it and it says you got it. 218.
Yeah, no, the last thing I've got is the Sterling solution cycle complete at 2:16.
No, mine sent to 219.
No, mine says 218.
All right, you might have a different problem, Jericho.
Yeah, that would be really alarming if I'm not getting emails. Specifically from you two guys. Sorry.
Yeah, because I mean, I sent it on the 15th and it clearly says
Me
it was.
too.
I'm still
We're,
looking
yeah, we're
at
not questioning you. We're questioning
the
the
inbox.
inbox.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. Let me see
All
if I,
right, should we, how can we do this? Do you want me to share my screen?
Yes. Please.
All right,
Thank you.
I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. Jericho's gonna give me permission.
should be co-host now.
Okay. CRC press release. Let's find it. Here it is.
Can you see if you get this, Dorothy? I just sent you an email back.
Sure.
I was so proud of myself. I
It was very good. I was proud of you too.
even put the little town thing on there.
Very nice.
I got a press release from you, Joanna,
Oh, good.
but I did another one just now.
This is very
Je-
bizarre.
Jericho, I got a test.
I do not understand how. What if- That's very bizarre. And when we're done with this, check the inbox real quick and see what the hell's going on here.
It's okay.
Right.
It's up.
So it's
Not really.
It's really not good.
No, it's not good, but it's up. So let's just go with this.
Yeah, so here's the draft of the press release. The only things we needed to fill in were interested parties can access the RFEI and submission guidelines where, I wasn't sure what to say. And for more information, I'm assuming I'm saying you at your contact information, Jericho.
Yeah. And then.
So
what-
we just need to fill those things in and I wasn't sure. So that's why I left them blank.
So what I'll do is I'll have the RFEI added to the Human Services webpage, get that address, add it to this document so that it'll be all lined up. And then we'll use my name and title at my email address.
Was the
Maybe, maybe not at this point.
REIF was sent out, correct?
RFEI has been out.
So am I making these changes or are you?
No, I will, when we get out of this meeting, I will add the contact information and then send the,
What would you do? Can you do it and send it to him too, just in case he doesn't get it? So it can be, it's
I
there.
don't know if you can send
And
it
if
to
we
me.
have to end up printing it out for them?
Do you,
Yes.
do you have a, like a Dropbox or something you can put this in? And then just send me the link to that?
No, I really don't. I mean, I don't think you're not getting it because it's an attachment.
Literally the only emails that I haven't gotten have been from you and Dorothy with attachments. And I sent
So
one.
why don't,
Try replying to that just to see if it gets back to me.
why don't I send it to you? Why don't I cut and paste it into the email?
Yeah, that's perfect. Or failing that, you can take the document and drop it into the chat box and then I can save it from here.
Okay.
Like drop and drag it from your.
Anne's never had a problem getting my documents.
She
before.
didn't see these ones.
Yeah, see what happened.
Yeah, so I got that back.
Where I just said hi.
Yeah,
That is weird.
could it be the
And this is going
blocking?
in the paper, so we can just send it to Kevin as soon as we get out of here.
Well, we need to know the address that the what's it called is gonna go up online. Could we just change, would people be okay with changing the RFEI is available on request and proposals will be due for interested parties can access RFEI and submission guidelines by request and then an email to then 2 email addresses?
I think that's fine.
Then we can just go through with that. I can
Say
send
what
this.
again? I'm sorry, where are you doing this?
So instead of here, having the web page address for it, which would, we have to wait for Florenzi to make the web page to get it in. We
Sounds
just
good.
email reply, and I'll get it to him tonight.
I should have already done that. For more information, let's say,
No H, sorry.
and who, so I'm gonna say, let me just take this out too. What's your title?
Director, Human Services.
And it is AMELE at Nantucket dash MA, right?
Yep, .gov. Oh,
Hmm?
sorry.
CKT.
Yeah, and
I
then,
see it, I see it.
Okay. Wouldn't that be fun?
it would be,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Okay, and, or should I put second contact?
Or. Yeah, and Medina, ANN.
No, just A.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put the name.
Oh, okay.
I know your email address, believe me. AMED. IN, yeah, you got it. Same domain as the other.
Okay,
This is Veronica. Do we need to change that date because we have to have the required advertisement dates?
So,
Just-
Do we need a requirement on an RFEI?
no, there's no, we've
There's
never
no
done it, so we
mandated
don't know.
one, like a contract.
And this, if we get it in for this week, it'll run, we would maybe collect it. I mean, the only thing we could do is switch it to the 9th instead of the 8th, and that'll give it one extra day to run, so it'll have 25th, 1st, and 8th.
you want me to change it to the 9th?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Whoops.
John,
Sure.
Yeah.
Bert,
Yeah,
Veronica,
Fine.
Sue?
Yes.
Okay, that's not helping.
Okay, so who does this need to go to?
So it's gonna go to, what's gonna go to all the town social media sites. It's gonna go out to anyone's mailing list that they want to put it out on. I'm gonna put it up on my web page. Where else?
It's going in the newspapers. Are we putting it in the Current or anything like that
Well, this will go to them.
automatically?
I don't know. I'm asking Jericho that question.
Yeah, that's
As,
what I'm asking.
as soon as it gets back from comms with approval, yeah, I would just send it out to current,
Can you go to Daybreak?
Inky.
Who is going, you're going to send this out?
Yes, as soon as I get it back from the comms office, I will send it out to the current, the Inky. Do we want to send it as a just as a straight press release to the Inky?
Correct.
And then we're
Yes.
not, it's not gonna be an advertisement.
No.
Okay, then we're good. I've got current Inky, Daybreak, everyone, any mailing list anyone has access to. Town social,
School?
we can send it to the school, yeah. I'll send it to Sherry.
Can we send it to the churches too? Oh, you know who I thought of today? The
Send to
Athenaeum.
IFC.
After seeing their, we haven't. After looking at what they have.
And the
this
book
week,
festival.
well, just what they had this week in their agenda, was just amazing, the calendar.
They do a great job.
So I've got current Inky, Daybreak, mailing lists, town social media, to Sherry for distribution at the school, the Athenaeum.
NHA. Anybody that we've invited. Should be on
I
that.
thought we were gonna get a whole list of that anyway, of everybody who's been invited and their email addresses.
We should have that.
Yeah, we have a pretty good list of them.
Anyone who's ever applied.
Yeah, all of our,
It's on the list.
Can this go out to the list that CFN has?
Yeah, we've already sent the survey out to them. And we can also send, we will be sending this.
Okay.
All right, I have sent again, Jericho, an email to you with
With it
the,
embedded?
with the press release copied into the body of the email.
And that went through fine.
So it's gotta be something to do with your, something that comes from your,
It's
You have an
external.
attachment disorder.
It's,
But you've
it's,
never had a problem with my attachments, so it's something to do with.
no, it's, they've launched a new,
Security.
yeah, so now every external email gets marked with something and it looks like every external email that has an attachment gets directly blocked.
Yeah,
So,
that's caution.
yeah, that little block on the top.
Caution unless you know this person.
And that launched last Friday.
But
Not
where-
last Friday, the Friday
it says
before.
Caution, you would have seen our names.
No, so if it doesn't have an attachment, it just says caution. If it's from an external sender, i.e. not a Nantucket, like nantucket-ma.gov like for domain, and it has an attachment, it gets bounced. It's not supposed to do that, so I have to talk to IT about this. Getting attachments from external sources is something that we
Okay,
can't
I'm
afford to
great
not do.
see that the press release is on its way now. Joanna, do you have words of us about, information on grants? Did she? give
Yeah,
you-
well, I'm meeting with Valerie on Thursday at 3:30, and I will have information after that.
Okay, great.
Do we have any more progress? Like, I haven't talked to finance about this, but they are asking for a timeline for a finished RFP and then what procedures and policies we're planning on using from that. We also need to determine if we're going to do an umbrella organization, because if not, we should start scheduling meetings for the evaluation process now. So that we have,
That was on my mind today, like if we could have a schedule.
So we'll put together a schedule, but until we get the RFPs out and see what numbers we have, there's no point in putting together a schedule.
I think we
So-
need to block out time to do that now. And I think we need to make decisions in the next couple of weeks in order to figure out what the RFP is going to be.
I would agree with that. I just said with, as far as seeing the organizations for the RFP, we can't think of scheduling that until we see how many we get in.
I think we'll have the RFEIs back, which will give us a gauge of interest there. Those should be done by June. We're doing June 9th now is the due date for those. So by then we'll have some idea, and that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, so here's what I would say about that. I thought we agreed at one of our previous meetings that we were using the exact same RFI we had previously used. We're just changing the blurb, right? Because I think you told us, maybe Jericho, that we had to use that. So
I talked to Brian and Brian suggested that we use that one with just changing of the wordage up above. Because that whole RFI work,
But
Yep.
RFI or RFP?
RFP, sorry.
the terms of the contract between them will depend on the existence of an umbrella organization to dispense the funds. So we need to make a decision on if we're going to use an umbrella organization and identify it before we can start work on the RFP.
Well, I'm not sure that is that what Brian said?
I mean, everything I know about how we've done this for the last couple of years requires us, because if we're going to be using an umbrella organization that we deposit the funds in, that means that we're going to be giving them the funds all in the first quarter, which is completely out of scope for how we've done any of these before. Like, we need to know an answer to this question, whether we're using an umbrella organization or if we're going to do it the same way that we've done it in the past.
Well, I think some of that's gonna end up with what we find out about what comes in on the RFI.
How? If we don't
Right,
know,
so we can see what kind of interest we're getting and what that scope is. And whether there's some kind of organization that says to us, hey, we're interested in being these. This is our plan and this is what we have and like what we would like to see.
I mean, if we're going to be dispersing these funds for programming to start in September, we don't have the time to wait for that, I don't believe, because
Why?
if we don't know if there's an umbrella organization, we can't write the RFP. It's a chicken and the egg kind of thing here.
Well, I think we have enough time. We have an idea. The RFP is basically written except for what's going to be in the first paragraph of that RFP.
If we
Right.
use the same model that we've used for the CRC up until this date.
Yeah.
We
And that's
do
what
it,
they're suggesting we use.
but then we,
Jericho, why don't, can you share your screen with the existing RFP and let us all look at it?
sure. But the issues with the RFP aren't going to be apparent from the existing one. Like, it's going to be,
Yes, yes, they will. We'll see where we have to edit and if there's language around who's gonna hold the money. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
uh, there we go, most recent CRC. Because there's no language in this document about enforced collaboration. There's no MOU controls about shared funding. There's no.
Well, good, we can start to work on it.
I do not know if that is within our remit.
I think from what I understand from Brian is we have to let him know what the contents we want to change within it. But their policy would be that it would be the first portion of it that would be changed.
But those aren't the portions that involve collaboration between organizations. That requires at least an MOU, if not a specific adjustment to the contract language of these contracts.
Can you, let's go back up to the beginning here. I just want to see what this is. Okay, grant organization.
We don't have it.
We can't. see
Yeah.
it.
We don't have it.
We can scroll down. I'm trying to identify whatever it is we need to look at.
That would be the stuff back here. Past the rubric to the certificate of non-collusion and to the actual contract language, which is not included entirely in this. This is a sample vendor agreement, which has been a quarterly reimbursement of costs incurred after the fact, evenly spread across all 4 quarters.
Could there be an option to do quarterly or upfront?
No, because we cannot pay for goods or services that we have not secured due to procurement law. We can only reimburse for expenses incurred by a nonprofit.
Love some.
But then, so what are you saying it would look like if it was, we had a nonprofit?
I have
No
no idea.
idea, okay. That's what we'd have to learn.
Yeah, and that would require, at the very least, MOUs between participating organizations, a legal contractual definition of what collaboration looks like. And then we would need to identify and adopt a particular organization to serve as the umbrella.
Right.
Additionally, both of the organizations that I know of who were considering being an umbrella organization would charge an administration fee dependent upon the total sum of the money being administered. And I don't know if we can do that. We've never done that in the past.
We're not gonna.
Mm-mm.
Why are we ruling that out?
I mean, we could talk about it, but I'm against that too. I don't want to, I mean, we don't have a lot of money to spend. And I think that I would really question why someone would need to be paid to do this.
Because administering,
it's work.
yes, administering the fund is work that they wouldn't be doing normally and would need to be recompensed for that. We could be doing it we could just agree on a flat sum and have that be part of the grant issued out, but you can't ask a nonprofit that is already at capacity in terms of what they're doing and for an administrative load to take on a whole new set of reporting, evaluating, and generating of data. It's man hours they got to pay for.
Jericho, you have at least 10 people on this call who have donated countless hours to doing exactly what you're talking about.
But we're not a nonprofit administering this. If we were going to do the same model we were using now, it would be us doing the evaluation of it during the beginning portion of the summer. And if we're going to do that, then I'm fine with that, but we need to start scheduling around that time.
Well, I would prefer to do that than have to pay any money out of the $175,000 to cover admin stuff.
So I don't know if Health Imperatives would offer to do this if that's what the topic of discussion is, and if they're not going to charge an administration fee for it. But both of the other organizations that I've talked to would need to do that. this is sort of what I mean. We need to determine if we have, and if we're doing an umbrella organization, because there's a potential based on how much money we're administering that I could scrape it up from other sources in my departmental budget. Although if it passes a certain threshold, it needs to go out to bid and there's a whole bunch of other complications involved. But if we don't know how to,
But Jericho, if we were going to do that, we would have to have they would have to become. I'm not sure how that would work because there's a fiscal sponsorship element to this as well.
agreed,
Because they're not just, yes, they're 501c3s, but can they distribute grant money? I don't know.
me as well.
And 5013Cs distribute grant money, I think we've seen that already happen.
They get,
They can, but they can't distribute, they can't give it to an individual, right? They have to give it to an organization, and ultimately they have to account for that money on their audit. We would want to make sure they had a separate bank account. There's a lot of rules around this.
Right, I'm not sure that we can give out town funds to an individual on this contract either.
Yeah, I don't think we can.
I'm pretty
Right,
sure we
no,
could.
I agree with that.
I don't
I'm
think
just
we
saying-
would.
Well, no,
That's where we're asking for collaboration from individuals who work with an organization who can.
we
So-
can work Together to make it happen.
Right.
But that needs to be legally and contractually defined to the satisfaction of the procurement office.
So I think this is a question for the procurement office.
I think we already have the answer, which is that we can't, at least for this go around of money, have somebody else administer the funds. I think that's going to be incredibly complicated.
Agreed.
Did the two organizations you talked to list a percentage, or did they have a?
It was a percentage to be determined later. One of the organizations did allow for the possibility of a single lump sum, although they were curious about why I was asking for it. It's because I can do that as a separate type of expense under my budget, as opposed to taking money out of the
Grant,
grant itself.
gotcha.
And that would be like a pre-allocated amount of money for a professional service that we're incurring. But
Well,
you-
Which makes
Can
sense.
we go down on this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just sample.
Yeah, just go down.
So like all of these terms are engagement of the contractor, so a single target to give the money to. Then how will they define partnerships amongst the other? If a single organization applies for this, under what if they don't disperse the money to their other organization?
What do you mean?
Well, what if they get a sum of money for collaboration with another organization and it isn't allocated the way that the partner organization thinks that it is? If there's, we
Well,
don't
I think this is
have,
the- I think this is the whole point of the fact that when we do the collaborations, that part of it is the monthly meeting, so we'll have an idea what's going on.
regardless of that contractual, there needs to be a approved by town council and procurement office
Correct.
legal definition of that is not in here because we've never done it before.
Right, but Brian told me to get what we wanted in the front. He was gonna take care of the rest, so I think that's.
That is an insufficient level of detail for me to be fully informed on doing this. Like,
If we don't know what we want in the, like, our normal one tells us exactly what we're looking for.
so if we use the normal template and we do the same process, then this should be a 3-minute discussion with Brian of saying that we're just going to change the questions we're asking up here at the top and specifically target them to youth to ask questions that correspond to the survey questions or the RFI's questions. But like this stuff
Right,
hadn't
but if
been-
we've decided that right now, the conversation has gone to the point that we're talking about no umbrella. And about it going out to 2 different organizations. So what we have to do is look at this document here at this point. And decide, okay, what we want in the front section of what we want, and then the rest goes to them. And the procurement office makes this contract work to what we need in the original thing. About what we're requiring. So we want collaboration. They're gonna have to take care of that legally in their office, not us. We're not gonna put the wording in there. So what we want to address is what is in the beginning of this, of what we're asking of everybody in the RFP. That's what we should be addressing. And the
Yeah.
rest of this, we hand over to them and let them take care of it in the procurement and legal office, because that's what they do. That's all we have to do.
then
We have
that,
to just look at the beginning.
then that is fine, and we need to have a discussion on what the definition of collaboration is, how we're gonna enforce it. Does it need to be a single individual that is a single organization that is applying for this? Or is it two people? Who sends the
We already,
reports in?
okay, so I think we determined that we wanted it to be a joint application. We determined that a while ago. That was
So
gonna be
then
a
we
joint application.
can't use any of this contract language because it's all written specifically for a single individual.
But if you're, not- if we can go to the first part of it, that language, that is gonna be changed. The language is gonna be changed by Brian's office. the procurement.
I
Okay,
wrote,
Linda.
I wrote this. This was unchanged. The stuff that the procurement office does is in the back. So that means we need to have a definition for what collaboration is and how reporting will work. That we need to know that up front.
Okay, so we've determined that they're gonna come to us once a month. It's part of the collaboration of their.
So
It's in
then
the RFEI, and we've defined collaboration in the RFEI too.
Right.
I do not believe that is a definition that is contractually binding. And it's the sort of thing that exposes.
My bird finally landed.
No, I'll be right back.
But it's so like. Defining collaboration as two or more agencies working together is not a contractual obligation with an enforceable component to it.
Right, but is that up to us or to legal to come up with the words that would put those two together?
It's up to us to determine what we want legal to implement.
Well, we've said it.
I think we've said it.
Which is it? Two organizations working together. Do we want a single person, a single organization sending us the RFI or
Two
RFP?
or more. No, they have to collaborate.
So then when they send it in, there's two emails in, who sends in the reporting?
There
Like
would
that's
have
the
to
level of
be a
granularity.
leader. There would have to be a leader. So two organizations, one would become the lead, the other would be working with
Partner or something.
partner, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't think that works.
I'm neutral on this, where this comes. I just need this very
Defined.
precisely defined now.
Do we need it precisely, Madam Chair? Do we need this precisely defined?
At least-
for an RFI?
We have to move on with RFP. The RFEI is out.
Okay, so when we see what the RFEI brings in, can't we just sort of figure it out from exactly what people have come at us with?
I don't know how long it's going to take in procurement, and I don't know what level of legal complexity there's going to be as a result of this. So I think we need clarity of intent. Do we intend for there to be a behavioral health partner that is the primary in this? And then relationships between the behavioral health and the other one are a subcontractor?
No, I think it's gonna be, there could be two organizations that are nothing to do with behavioral health, but have a great idea. They're gonna come together. I think we're not gonna determine what those two organizations are. They're gonna determine it. Our job is to look at what they're offering us and determine whether those two are gonna be a collaboration and what they're presenting is gonna be beneficial to the community at large.
That part I get, but we need to be clear about what we're asking of the nonprofits, which is, this is a first-time grant with very vague guidelines that has a lot of potential complexity in administering and reporting, which means we need to have very clear guidelines so we can communicate them effectively to the people so that reporting does not become a nightmare. in
Well, and so that
months.
they know how to apply.
Exactly.
Oh, in what sense do you want to learn more about how they have applied?
Who writes their name on the application here?
Right, like,
But
so,
I
right
think it's gonna
here.
depend on, didn't we decide that it was gonna be a partnership?
What does that mean when it
But-
comes to the RFP application? Does that mean that
like
they
if,
put
so
two
if
names?
PassCon wants to do an application with ASAP.
Mhm.
Because that could almost,
So you
that could
two
actually
would
happen.
determine who's gonna come at this and which one of you is gonna be the lead, not us.
But, right, but that's the question. Does there need to be a leader or does there not? Like, could I write the whole grant and Elise is like, oh yeah, great, I'll do that. Or is it like Elise and I both put our names as directors and say like, we're committing and who gets the money when we reimburse, like,
We
And then-
have to have a memorandum of agreement between the two parties,
which is a
which
legal.
is very simple, and that's. a
Do we
legal
require that?
We would
I would
need,
think
we
so.
would need
Need
to
to
include
require
that into the RFP. So that's the kind of details that we need to have in our head so that we know what the structure is and we can explain.
Right,
it to
because right
people.
now I wouldn't know if it's like, well, it's my program, but Elise is gonna
Well, it's a very.
do
simple
49%.
I've done right. It's a very simple doc. Whoever applies can, the memorandum of agreement comes with it, and you describe the program involving the two or three organizations. And memorandum of agreement sets out who makes the application and how the relationship works between the two entities. Very simple. One paragraph, sometimes it can be a page.
Yeah, no, the MOU is the easy part. It's the, how do they apply? Like,
Well, and then
is it
it's-
okay for both of them to submit for reimbursement, or do we only want to do one
No,
reimbursement?
you'll have one organization submitting for that reimbursement.
So we've
And that's where
never,
the Memorandum comes in as to how they're reimbursed for their portion of this whole thing.
Mhm.
that's
why the
where,
Organizations work it out ahead of time.
well, and that's where the reporting issue comes in, because when you go to finance to do the reporting, you need to have one agency that is responsible for the money. And if you have ambiguity in where that money is going, it means that it's going to cause a ton of problems for finance and us when we get to the reporting. That's why we've largely been asked to do single recipient grants in the past. In fact, to my knowledge, we have never done a multi-party grant where we've sent a lump money in. And if we're sending lump
Well,
money,
we have done one where we did,
which one?
That was only ASAP and.
it was between
ASAP.
Gosnold and.
No.
And weren't there some, wasn't one of the two parties suggesting that it was not exchanged if like the way that they were anticipating it to be?
Well, you just said that we didn't do one. I'm saying that we've had one in the past.
And
so
that
to
there,
reference it.
so then the single one we've had, there's a pretty pronounced problem that the money did not go where both partners thought it was going. Because we don't have a robust MOU situation that allows for.
Jericho,
Yes,
Jericho, how about we focus on trying to solve the problem together versus all of the things that are not going to work, right? So from your perspective, why don't you talk about what things you think can make this work, not the things you think can't?
the things that would make this work, the shortest path between us dispensing this money to human services providers for the fall semester is if we have single point of contact, single point of reporting with a robust MOU structure, and that we do the vetting the same way we've done with CRC in the past over the summer so that we can have the grants approved and out the door by like September or maybe October at the latest.
Oh, and we could get them out by September. I mean, there's no reason they couldn't be out by September. So that's, I think that's been out of the question.
Every one of these grants,
So Jericho,
CRC specifically, what?
I want you to be clear. What you are suggesting is that we write the RFP and request that one organization be the lead, that they manage the money and they prepare the reports.
Absolutely.
That's
Okay.
what you're suggesting.
MOU
But there's some,
submitted.
I
right, there
cannot,
has to be one.
there would have to be, and then that is gonna, that's something that's gonna need to be legally determined. That's gonna add another layer of time before people can apply and get that approved.
What are you saying needs to be legally determined? The collaboration?
The MOUs need to be signed and executed in a legal framework, and that means that there's gonna be a lawyer that needs to spend lawyer time to look at it, or it might expose the different organizations to liability, like these deliberations, these kinds of things are gonna be new and complicated and take longer than we think they're gonna be. Since we made the point of this request for money to get cash into the hands of human service providers before the fall semester, we should have it.
But Jericho, you've not brought up any of these very complicated issues before today.
I've been
So-
asking to
so
talk
let's
about the
just-
RFP.
Let's just go here, wait a minute. So right now, we know what Jericho wants, we know what's on the table. I don't think the time frame is as, as dramatic as it sounds. I have no problem. I don't think we'll have any problem getting this money out by September at all. So right now, what we're looking at is we want to say to the people that are going out there that we're gonna have a single holder, a single response to us. But we're gonna have memorandums of understanding between each organization that we have to get out there. I think that if these organizations want them, that is not a very hard document to get done at all. And I think that what we're doing is finding the negative inside of this, instead of let's going and saying, what can we take care of? How can we take care of it? We've got it on the table. Let's get it in action now. So let's say, what do we want? What are our deadlines gonna be? And let's go forward. I mean, we're
Yeah.
just going back and forth here, so.
I agree.
So we are saying that we want a single person, right? Single applicant,
Single reporting entity,
single applicant.
no, single reporting.
Well, we're gonna have an applicant, single person making the application
So we're,
in a collaboration.
A
showing their
single
collaborating
entity, single
partners.
Entity,
Okay, but I'm just writing this down with,
a single entity making the application
so
identifying their collaborating partner
with an MOU. Between. the
who is
parties.
holding,
Partner or partners.
Yeah, partner parentheses has.
do we, as part of the application process, do we want to collect the MOU at the same date that we collect the
we will get
RFP?
that with the, it's gonna be mandated to be in the application.
Part of the application.
So our due date for the RFP is going to be what?
We haven't determined that yet. We haven't had
gotta
a
get
chance
to
to
the
determine that.
RFP
Let's just stop. Well, I'm sort of thinking that you have the RFIs coming in on the first week in June. We should be able to take a look at those and get a good idea to be, and then have this in place to send those RFPs out. Right? They need 3 weeks. We can have that done by mid-July. There's no reason we couldn't have something by mid-August out for who the grants are going to.
So the grants have to go out, they have to secure partners and this is not a question, this is me just trying to collect.
Work the
connect
time,
lines
yeah.
here. So that means that if we get the RFPs out by, what we're saying, early June, early July rather?
I would say July 1.
So it's-
At least, well, we're gonna have the RFIs in by June 9th.
I don't know. We missed last week.
No, we're gonna have them in
We're
by
still
June
gonna
9th.
try and get them in by June 9th. I think the RFEIs don't have to
Don't
be
have to
up
have
the
a
same
full
length of
big
time.
RFPs.
So just in the interest of keeping it moving, we'll go to the 9th. When the RFPs, those must be posted for 2 weeks.
And then
So if
waiting
they go,
lists.
if they go June, that means we cannot be collecting them any less than 14 plus 8, 22, July 22nd, which means that in that interim, the
July
applying,
22nd, wait a minute. Why'd you get so far out?
3
well,
weeks total.
Well, we're saying that it's gonna take us 6 weeks from June 9th to get everything out.
if we're not gonna do, let me just make sure I have the details right. We want to get the RFPs out and ready by, was this the general consensus, the guess, let's go for this July 1st, right?
What?
That's when we want
the
to release
RFP
the
to go out.
RFPs.
I think you're
Like that earlier.
than that.
So we're gonna be collecting the RFEIs by the 8th of June. When would we like
9th
to,
of June.
9th of June, when would we like to release the RFP?
Well, we
It would be great if we could do it the end of that week. If we can work a couple of days and get it out, if we have it ready by,
Take long to get it out once we get what we want in it. So if it comes in on June 9th, there's no reason we couldn't have it out by June 22nd.
second,
So June 22nd, that means it has to be posted for 2 weeks. That puts us at the 5th, sorry, hold on, June 22nd.
If we work hard enough, we could do it for June 15th.
No,
Why not?
because we're not gonna be able to put it in the paper. We're not even meeting until like the 12th or 13th.
I'm just saying that we can.
So-
There's no RFP.
so July 6th would be the 2-week deadline.
Julie has been on here.
I just got on, I'm not listening.
Okay, no, it's fine. Actually, we're gonna take a break here because this would be a good break for a second, Julie. I had said earlier that she was coming in. Linda, you missed it.
Well,
And
let's go back
hold
to
on,
what we
no,
were
wait.
doing.
No, 1 second. This is exciting and sort of like calm everybody down and bring
Hi.
back.
And the
Julie,
screen share.
Hi,
Hi, how are you? I
good,
received,
how are you?
good. I received something that I feel, after she talks, I will comment on, but I think that for everybody here, it will reinforce what you're doing.
You want to say
So-
for the tape who this is?
She is. I said Julie Kehoe. She's gonna say
Who
the
does
name,
she
but we're not.
represent?
I haven't gotten to that point. Okay, Linda? Julie, Can you identify yourself for everybody, please?
Hi, I'm Julia Keogh and I'm the CEO of Health Imperatives. Health Imperatives Nantucket and across the southeastern Mass. And I just wanted to come on to thank you today. Is it okay, Dorothy, if I just start talking or?
Please go right ahead.
Okay, so I know some of you were there in the very beginning. I think it was almost 10 years ago when I came to the town to ask for support for the WIC program and for our other services so that we could ensure that people on island were getting access to all the federal nutrition assistance that was available to them. And because of the way the program was funded, and we were only able to come out to Nantucket a couple times a month from the Cape. We didn't have funding to hire on-island staff. So with your support, which I want to thank you for this year's allocation, we went from, I believe, $6,500 10 years ago to now $150,000 a year, which allows us to have a local presence for both WIC and our sexual and reproductive health services, which has made sure that we're serving so many more people on island and more effectively in partnerships with other providers. So what we did was increase the number of people who were receiving WIC on island by 50% just in a couple of years. And we have been highlighting this as a huge success of how municipal government, nonprofits and federal and state government can work together to really ensure that communities are getting the services they need. I've also used it as a cautionary tale showing how if we don't do business differently at the state and federal level, health disparities are going to worsen. And the way these programs are funded is part of the problem. So to make a long story short, we had an opportunity a couple of months ago to apply for a grant. They're called WIC Community Innovation and Outreach grants to identify best practices in the future by starting a program that will help people who are particularly disparately impacted by barriers to receiving this critical nutrition assistance. And it was $11 million that went out across the country. The idea was that only half of the people who are eligible for WIC are getting it. And it's worse among immigrant populations, people of color, and people who live on islands. So we applied to replicate what we did in Nantucket and then add a couple of new components to it, including partnering with Island Grown Initiative, which is a 40-acre farm that has really strong relationships in the schools and the churches and the tribe out there. And so we're working together to increase access to WIC and have WIC participants sort of act as ambassadors to get other people involved in the program. And we received a $374,000 grant to do this. And it's all because of Nantucket. And I've told everyone that. And what's particularly amazing about this grant is that at the end of the year and a half, all of the lessons learned are going to go to improve the WIC program nationally. So USDA is going to use all of the best practices and lessons learned to reduce some of the barriers, which is what I've been sort of trying to do since I first came and talked to you in that very first meeting almost 10 years ago. So I just had to call Dorothy and tell her and thank you all. Because I love that Nantucket's leading the way because Martha's Vineyard really gets bent out of shape at that. So fun for me.
But I think what Julia, somebody here is like questioning you, so I want to go back on a few things that you shared with me. First and foremost, guys, it is the only organization in the state of Massachusetts that got any funding, which is huge. And it's using that funding was able to do where they were able to prove a collaboration within a community, improve the WIC. So she was able to get funding to work with the vineyard, but in long run, let it finish, it will improve the amount of money going to Nantucket in the WIC program over the next couple of years, because as they show what the progress does and how this collaboration working within the communities has worked. So what they're saying to us is that when working together, there are federal grants that have actually come forward because of the work and investment that we have put into believing in this. which is actually in the long run, even though right now the program will go to like their mainstay will be the vineyard because their time isn't there. The fact that they were able to use what they've done in hiring people here that are able to speak with, that are culturally competent in their area, because of the support of the town and what we've done, they're enhancing a program that could enhance the whole state in Wick, but also most importantly, the islands. And so I think that it's something that we should all be very proud of in showing that there are federal grants that the islands can get for things. And that an organization that we've worked with and that we believed enough in has come forward and done something I think pretty cool. And I wanted to share that with everybody because I think it's a really, so you can see what happens when.
Sorry,
It's okay.
is the uncle on the other door?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I think when you see what happens when we actually fund some things, how the trickle effect can affect us, everybody in the long run. So I think it's really cool.
Well, I appreciate that. However,
Congratulations. That's
Thank you so much. I mean, I think the fact that this information is going to inform how USDA runs a program across the board. Like some of the things we're hoping they'll allow us to do are things they allowed during COVID, which is to do more over the phone or to make sure there's adequate staffing like on island. So again, you're the only town who's ever done this. There's no model like this anywhere else. And I think that you're leading the way. And I don't think we would have gotten the grant if we had just said we wanted to do it. I think it's because we did it on Nantucket. I looked briefly, we have a meeting tomorrow of the other people, but there's nothing else like it in terms of a model showing sort of the geographic isolation of small islands with extraordinary cost of living. Because there's nowhere where that's a bigger issue than on Nantucket. And so I'm going to use all the lessons learned from Nantucket when we're informing them about our experience on Martha's Vineyard as well. So you'll have a serious impact as you already have. So thank you so much.
let's ask a question.
Yeah, Linda's gonna ask a question, Julia.
Okay.
I appreciate that you use Nantucket to get money for the vineyard. That it's in itself, just because it's a vineyard. They wear purple. My issue is Nantucket is in need of the same expansion of the programs that you're doing on the vineyard. But yet we're not getting any of that funding.
Yeah, but the vineyard is so far behind Nantucket on what they're doing in Wick, and what will happen is, as they show this, what they're doing, it'll improve the amount of money going to Wick to both islands.
I don't
Which
see
is,
that.
that's what it is. And eventually, that's what, they're doing a database to prove that this system that they put in place on Nantucket will work on the vineyard and henceforth bring more money into for Wick here.
Because it's more expensive to live on Nantucket than the vineyard. They've got a 30-minute boat ride. They've got multiple towns, they got 7 towns over there.
I think
It's much more difficult, much more isolating on Nantucket. And so expansion and improvement and everything else needs to happen on Nantucket as well. Because I know a lot of people are not doing WIC. I had 3 kids in WIC and I appreciate WIC more than you can ever imagine. And geez, to sink a battleship. But they helped me with a very expensive formula because all the kids were allergic to something and they had to have really expensive $150 a week and they paid for it. But it was just, I know there are people here on Nantucket that are in the same boat. And I think we need funding here as well. And I'm not happy that we have to wait another year, another 2 years. So that's just, I understand the vineyard situation versus our situation, but I don't want to forget that we have a needs rising to that level also. And people are not.
Oh, absolutely. If I may, I think this is a demonstration program. And I think honestly, what made Martha's Vineyard a good example for them is the size, the fact that there are 6 towns, the fact that there is a tribe there. And so I think that also we serve almost fewer people on Martha's Vineyard than we do in Nantucket. So what we've done in Nantucket with the funding we've raised privately and from the town is to hire on-island staff who are already there. And that's why more people are on WIC on Nantucket than on Martha's Vineyard. So what we're trying to do is get another example, because we know it's going to work. And then those lessons, it's only 1.5 years funding. And then those lessons are going to inform changes to the national WIC program, including Nantucket, that will benefit. So I know what you mean, but I do think that when they're looking at demonstration programs across the country, it's kind of ridiculous that they're looking for the places that are in the worst shape, but that's in fact what they wanted to test.
Julia, I think the long term of this is huge, and I appreciate the fact that one of the things that reason I had you was because sometimes we question what we do with our money as a town, and sometimes we're questioned about what we do with our money as a town. And when we support things that in the long run will benefit us and other communities, we're doing our job the right way and we're funding the right things. And I think that's what this was about. I wanted people to see that when you look at the fact that we have 50 states and there weren't that many holders that won this money, because it wasn't a ton of money, that your program using Nantucket as helping and the islands awarded them the funding. And I think that's what I wanted everybody to see. I think it's a major step for us, for the contract review committee and for the town of Nantucket, for showing that we are taking a step forward in programming by working with an organization that is as on top of things as you guys are. So that was the reason I brought you in.
Thank you.
You're
And we're
welcome.
committed to raising additional money to support Nantucket, whether that's from funding on island or off, because I do think the model is so good. And now that we have this national pilot project, we're going to be seen more as a player, right, in that space. And so if we write grants to increase access on Nantucket, I think we'll be in a better spot to do it. So I know what you mean. It's not always seeming exactly fair. We were just in a meeting earlier today where there are all these emergency vouchers for people leaving domestic violence shelter, and we're not getting any because we move people out faster than anyone else, and they're targeting them to people who are in shelter the longest. So it's the same kind of issue, but I think in this case, it's really going to benefit Nantucket in the short and long run.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody else has any comments. Bert, do you have any comment? No. Veronica?
No, thank you.
Joanna?
Nothing other than congratulations.
Thank you
Julie.
so
That's great.
much. Thank you.
John?
None except that I think you and I were there at the beginning.
You
Yeah.
were, I know, definitely. And you were the first to come to our office too.
I can remember that was a pretty what should I say, small toehold.
Yes,
Just thank you and congratulations. Keep up the
thank
good.
you so much. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your support more than you'll ever know. I brag about Nantucket all the time. But at the same time, I do say we're very concerned about inequities on island because of the wealth gap and the extraordinary cost of living. So it still remains a huge priority for us.
Okay, Julia, I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Bye.
So much.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you later.
Thank you, Julia.
My kids wouldn't have survived without her.
The other thing about that, Joanna, that I thought was really cool was that it was a federal grant that went to an islands. Or that we've talked about us maybe not being eligible, but the federal grant has identified that we have a culturally diverse and financial need.
It's good. It's good. It's a
ASAP
good-
has pulled in some federal grants over the years. I mean, ASAP.
ASAP has
It's done.
done, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really,
It's all about collaboration, and that's what we've been talking about, so.
Yeah, it's
We've
really cool.
successfully done that.
Collaboration, let me get back to the calendar.
So,
I've got it going in the paper on the 22nd, where you wanted it, the 29th, where you wanted it, we have to wait 8 days, which is July. So if we met the following week, which would be the 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there, then we are right on track.
But how are we feeling about putting a deadline right after the 4th of July?
Yeah, because a lot of people take that whole week off.
And it's event seat, like it's.
So that would put us up to the July 17th, which is a Monday, to have a meeting to decide them.
So if they go out on the 22nd, they'll be
In the paper.
In the
on
paper, 25th, 1st, and 8th. With us collecting on the 9th, that's the 8th, that's the full cycle there.
You know what? No,
The-
we're in the paper on the 22nd.
Sorry, hold on.
July?
June,
Oh, June.
So, yeah, I
June
apologize.
22nd, June 29th. Wait 8 days, which would be July 7th, which she's right, it's a week that a lot of people take off. The following week it starts with the 10th, and the week after that starts with the 17th, so if we met on the 17th, which is a Monday. Then we can make a decision and everybody gets their money by September 1st, which is what you're aiming for.
So that leaves
6 weeks.
22, 29th, and then. So that is gonna be with the extra week, that gives them about a month to write the RFP, secure whatever MOUs they need. That seems like a reasonable amount of time for this.
So they'd be due on the 14th, which gives them that week after July.
Yeah.
And then we can meet the following week to go over them.
And once we make our decisions on who and how much, does it usually goes to town meeting, but
It's pre,
We're
pre-
we're 75,000, so it doesn't matter.
so they don't care. Nobody wants to see.
Nobody wants to see, it's just,
They're
yeah,
good.
we
Okay,
got the money. So normally we put in a recommendation for the funding.
right,
To them, and then it's solicited at the. some-
exactly. Yeah.
It's just the town meeting voted on it and already passed it for us.
So we
Gotcha.
really do with Brian.
It'll be
Yeah.
released. The money will be released on July
July 1,
1st. It can
right.
be starting to go out the second we get those done. So
Done.
that's good.
There's no wait time.
There's no, yeah, nobody has to vote on it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's why if it's the 22nd, the 29th, and there's due on the 14th, and we meet the week of the 17th.
So some of the things on this contract would be the collaborating, Joanna, I got that. The second part of it sort of went into a really funny state.
I think it's
She's
because
sent me-
she's copy pasting it for my benefit. So it's coming in all weird, like the column sections
Yeah,
all
you see the
stacked up.
columns?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
so she sent us an MOU, guys, but it sort of came out like this.
I can send it as an attachment and that formatting will not look like that.
If you
Yeah.
send it to an attachment to me, it'll
And
be fine.
Joanna, I'm gonna send you an email. I'm gonna send you my Gmail account.
Okay,
But we're not doing the MOUs, the organization.
No, but
It's just a
we can-
template, so we can
just have a
share.
Sample, so we all understand what it is, how it looks.
all right, I'll do that right now.
Numbness, tingling, and burning in your feet.
Somebody's cross talking there.
Crampy, heavy legs that sap your energy.
Sounds like, what's going on?
I got you, John.
Of a good night's sleep.
I got you, John. There you go. Perfect.
Is that his computer talking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joanna, that's January Joe 29 at Gmail. So,
Can you put up the RFP again?
Or few of the RFP, right?
last year's
The
RFP,
RFP.
the CRC's RFP.
A regular one.
Can you put up the first section of it?
This is the first. You can go to the first, of these questions.
No, go down. Is
Hold on,
there
let me
a-
share it so that everybody can see. We're doing. Share screen.
Are you in landscape?
Huh?
The second page was really short.
It's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because there's a page break in there.
Yeah, but are you on landscape or are you on?
No, it's because I inserted a page break because I wanted to keep these separate for when I was copying and pasting everything in for the packet.
Right here.
Are we asking for the tax forms on this, or we just gonna simplify this?
They have to by law give us any tax form if they ask for more than 5,000. That's the law.
But that should be. an
Thank you, Nicole.
That should be enough.
Just for the record, Nicole had to log off. So this is where there's some hard limits on how things work.
Where?
This where the procurement 30B section 2 applies.
WB.
And that's stuff that is inflexible. That's not something that can
Right.
be managed.
Yeah.
And then none of this would change.
None of that changes. So I think it's up towards the top.
This is,
No, go down now a little bit, right here, solicitation, this one, right under solicitation.
okay, that's the same.
Where he was.
Yeah, I know, but I want to go back up to the beginning sentences of it.
Okay, I'm gonna highlight those sections.
Isn't that funny? It makes it harder for me to read.
I can't
It's
read.
highlighted.
Sorry. You know what I'm gonna do? Bear with me for a half second here.
So I think the thing is the community needs statement is not what we're going after for the money.
Right, we have to be very specific about what this grant is.
Because the
versus our
community-
regular grant.
Right, the community needs statement is completely different
But
than
this
what
thing-
we're going after in this. Yeah.
So then this would be, we would remove any verbiage based on this and do basically the same section from the press release that outlines the issue we're attempting to work on. Chuck it in there and then we should be good to go.
So this needs to be specific to that particular grant.
And then, of course, change into from human services grant, it'll be for youth behavioral health grant.
Right.
That's the biggest place where we have to change these.
What's the word? I couldn't remember the other day. What's the other word that we're using instead of substance abuse? What's the-
Substance
Misuse.
misuse.
Something, I just could not remember the word.
And I think in this, we don't need to be particularly detailed, just be, whatever the same verbiage we used from the press releases. The thing that we want to like, this is going to be their narrative portion, the portion we read that we then use to get questions. So this section could use some adjustment because this is not youth focused questions. Like most of it will like,
Right, so go up a little bit. So. I don't think that we have to do the percentage on budget from fundraising.
we don't have to, but do we want to, it would be helpful for me if I have an answer for that from all of the different grant recipients so that I can use that information to evaluate the different orgs we deal with.
Is that question repeated?
No.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
too.
It is repeated.
I'm like, what am I
don't know
missing?
Why that is repeated.
It's repeated.
It was repeated in the thing as well.
Yeah.
The one that went out.
Several of them went out, so I'm not sure which version this is.
All right, Jericho, I sent you an MOU that would be used for collaborators and who agreed to quarterly reporting, where one of them had a fiscal responsibility.
Can you go
I-
up?
Some of that does.
Right.
I would say instead of missions, well,
It's okay to,
I'd like to ask their experience working with 0 to 25.
Yeah, some of this doesn't apply to the specific grant.
That was all on the RFI.
right,
So I think we can import many of the questions from the RFI. Let me see if I can pull that up.
You take these out.
Yeah, we would just swap the ones that apply in and then be done with it. What do we want to keep from this?
I want to describe the proposed program and project for which you're applying.
Okay.
Yes. And who
Who
will
the
this serve?
program serve?
Who's it gonna serve?
That one should stay.
Everything in front of that goes.
I would do the next one too. Keep it,
Yeah.
go down.
Describe the needs served by this program and the methods used to determine that need. This is the
Sure.
one that's based on, no, I think we get rid of this because it's,
Well, just get rid of the thing that says community needs statement chart. Let them tell us what they think has to be determined.
okay. I'm just gonna dip that out of there.
So just under 500 words.
And you know what, Veronica, I just want to say this is gonna be the thing where you're, that I think we should take what you worked on this,
The rubric.
the rubric and put it.
Right.
in.
Exactly. And I'll take a look at that and adjust if there's anything that has to be adjusted on that, because that was done for a different purpose. So just has to be tweaked maybe. But
Yeah.
I'll probably look at that in the next day or so.
I looked at it over the weekend and I was like, this is perfect for this.
Okay.
It's a good way for us to go into it.
Mhm.
There are gonna be a lot of eyes on this, so it's probably good to have a
Exactly, exactly.
Does everybody remember? I have a copy if anybody wants to look at it right now.
I think it's in my computer somewhere. I don't know.
Veronica, could you send me a copy of that?
do,
Yes, I can.
Copies for everybody.
do we want to revisit this? Ongoing programs or projects? There aren't gonna be any
No.
ongoing projects from
No.
this,
No,
so remove.
Yeah,
Okay. And then do we want to keep this, describe the impact, how we determine success?
Yeah.
Yes.
yes.
I'm just highlighting the ones we're gonna keep. In what ways does your organization collaborate?
This is part of it.
There's probably a better version of this from the RFEI.
get rid of the
This is just
ongoing
one of the
programs
pages
of
of it.
impact.
Yeah, I'm only, the ones that have the highlight are keeping.
It's a little bit more complicated as it looks like this.
I'm assuming we're gonna keep this.
Talking about changing this draft. And then have it like what we decided.
Nice.
The question regarding what ways does your organization collaborate? Do we wanna, we have a separate question for that in the RFEI? Okay, that's gonna go.
Yeah, that's gonna go.
Do we wanna ask about additional funding streams?
No, because they're coming to us for this specific program.
And we will want a line item budget.
Yeah.
Get rid of the next one.
Get rid of that, okay?
Oh, describe the role of volunteers in this program. Why not? There could be some. It could be a very important part of it. It's just say, describe the role of volunteers if, you know,
But not organization.
Right, just
It's this
program.
Project.
any program or project. And or project,
In this program,
yeah. And project. / project.
this.
Why?
Just
Because it's
this is what
only
they're
this one.
applying For.
We should use, so then we should just, I mean, this I understand.
I would just leave it at program. It's a project no matter what it is.
All right. So we're gonna ditch these. Do we want to hold on? We should, I think we sort of have to keep this. I can reduce the word count because, well, what if it's new orgs?
Right, we'll leave the mission statement
All right, so there's your base questions.
and we're gonna add some of the others in.
Yeah,
RFEI.
let me pull up the RFEI. One moment, just bear with me. And I'll throw it up for everybody to see in just a moment.
Can yours put both up there? I'm not. no.
I can, but it gets,
It's
starts to
really
get
small.
complicated when you share multiple screens
Okay.
or multiple tabs. So this, likewise, I'm gonna just highlight the ones we want to put in. So this is the required collaboration. Identify partner organizations and brainstorm collaborative programming.
I think we already have that somewhat.
Yeah, I'm just substituting this verbiage in for the other one because it's the one we wrote specifically for this. Proposed programs already in there. Audience served. We already have describe your intended audience or describe your intended period for implementation. We want to keep.
We have budget.
Commitment to monthly meeting. We have to.
Yep.
Do we want to assign penalties for not making those meetings?
No, not in an RFP.
Wouldn't we need to assign penalties for it in the RFP or the
Yeah,
contract for it to be
These are
binding?
binding Contracted, so that it is a requirement for funding that they attend these meetings.
Is there a
Why can't they
percentage?
Do it and submit a report.
Because we want to see them so that we can actually, so sometimes we get reports. And the reports aren't necessarily identifying really what's going on. So what we want to see is the collaboration is actually happening, that both parties are happy with the collaboration that's happening. And that we have something out there. The Board of Selectmen wants me to prove there's something out there. I want to see what we're doing.
Well, I'm not into penalties for health providers. No,
So we're just saying, what we're saying is there has to be a commitment to the monthly meeting.
fine, but I'm not talking about penalties.
Well, I mean, so we were already planning on doing, if you don't get your quarterlies in on time, you don't get your money. So I'm figuring if you don't attend the monthly meetings, you don't get your money.
I wouldn't say that here. I
We would-
say when we have interviews with the people. that-
I would say monthly meetings are required for funding, period.
Yes,
Okay,
Monthly meetings are required
to receive funding.
for collaborative, to hear out collaborative outcomes to receive monies. It's really simple. You put it in there.
all right, so
Do we want to say like minimum monthly meeting participation 80% or
No,
no, just
No, there's 100%.
100%? Okay.
okay, and then. All right, then I can pull all of that stuff and drop it into the other document.
You're not gonna put any additional information you think would be helpful?
I am, it's highlighted, so that's gonna stay. So let me just pull these out and chuck them into the other document. Let me not bore you with watching my screen while I do this.
Want to do it on your own and not in front of us?
I want to have a document that we can look at before we go, but I think I can do that real quick while you guys are continuing on.
Okay,
Pretty much.
we got the basic
dates, we
idea
got
of
the basics.
what we want in the RFI. Joanna, can we touch upon your next coming meeting with Wendy?
Valerie.
Valerie?
Yeah, I think what's gonna happen is she's gonna give me a list of grants that we can apply for potentially.
Okay, and when will you have that list available for us?
After Thursday?
Could you possibly send that out so that people could
Yes.
look at it?
We have our next meeting set.
No,
No.
No,
Does Joanna send things directly to?
she has to send them to me.
Okay. I usually just send them to Dorothy and Jericho and Ann. But
Perfect.
then they can forward them on because I don't want to screw up any rules.
Exactly. Yeah, I just want to make sure somebody who has my email address gets it.
Yes, so if I can get your email address too, because sometimes there are articles that I like to send out.
Oh,
to
yeah.
people. I'm gonna put you in my phone, actually.
Okay, MS,
Oh, hold on, I gotta get to my. phone.
get there.
I just wanted to mention that, just for so everybody knows that Alan Bell 3 weeks ago had a stroke.
oh, no,
No.
Yeah, he's doing much better.
I was walking briskly when I saw him
Oh, my gosh.
Friday.
Yeah, he didn't have a bad stroke, but he did have a stroke. And he's recovering, on a slow rate, I hear things are coming back. But I
When
just
did
thought
it
I'd
happen,
share that-
Dorothy?
Alan Bell,
When did it happen?
about 3 weeks ago.
I saw him Friday and he was absolutely normal to me and I've known him for 40 some odd years. So I was like,
That's great.
really?
It is great. It is great, but I just thought I'd let everybody know. I mean, Alan has been involved with ASAP since I was doing it with Pat Martin, so.
He's
When
pretty
together
active.
we can, so he was one of the founding, like, we were all part of this founding board. And just a great guy, and he's been so actively involved in our community and stuck to what he was doing, so I thought people should
Thank you.
might want to know.
No, I told him the timing was terrible right after he sells the island, right?
Right,
And then,
stresses.
like, just when he's supposed to be like, relieved and feeling better. and then he
That's totally how it
goes and
happens.
has- Oh, But.
That's
I'm
usually
glad
when
to
it happens after.
hear Lynn's out walking and,
It's wonderful to see him out
yeah,
walking and
that
stuff.
he's healthy and.
Joanna,
He's my ex-brother-in-law.
Yes.
Joanna and Dorothy, I'm sending you the collected questions that we just pulled out of those two RFPs, just so everybody's got them. I'm sending them just in an email because I no longer trust attachments.
That little orange thing showing up on all of them that have that 365 Microsoft. Don't
Yeah.
open, Don't open. don't
It's
open.
literally, it appears to actually be blocking.
It's a real problem.
Did you say you just sent something?
No, I'm sending it out right now. It's just both sets of questions we pulled out with the same verbiage from those two. And then we can tweak them just so we all have them in front of us.
And then you can also, where is that MOU have to go?
The MOU will have to be included, but most likely town procurement already has an MOU template that they would like us to use. So when we discuss this with finance, that's when,
I doubt they have an MOU template that deals with collaborations between nonprofits where one is the primary fund holder and that there's rules around quarterly grant reporting.
my,
Foundation probably.
Well, no, she has one. She sent it to us, Joanna.
but
I have one. I sent it to you.
yes, but I'm reasonably certain based on how past experiences with finance has gone, that they will want to do at least some due diligence on it, or will attempt to find the closest template they can adjust to that.
Well, I'll send this forward to Brian too. That's
It's just meant to be helpful.
right, and just say, we have a sample, what do you think about it?
I'm sure Brian's done a collaborative grant in his career, so I'm sure he won't be the first time he's seen it. And then,
Gotta go. When do we have one?
we should get the,
Get that lined up based on what we're doing here.
okay, so right now,
Where'd you go?
I was gonna go to the restroom, but if we're looking at calendars,
You wait.
I'll do
I had to
calendars.
too, and I was- yeah.
I
I'm just gonna
needed to move.
chuck this calendar all the way up for everybody to see. Hopefully. All right. Trying to get all 3 months.
I'm away next week.
Well,
Next
they're-
Tuesday, and Wednesday, I have to go to Connecticut.
Well, they're due, we must love 95, I can do it. Sleep.
Hate that road.
We're in Jersey.
So,
The 9th they're due in on the 9th.
So they'll be
we might
coming in on the
12th.
9th.
Okay, somewhere in there. Which is the following Monday.
so then first proposed meeting, the 12th,
Well, we are.
The 12th of June.
12th of June.
My daughter's
Now, when are
birthday.
we gonna do the meet and greet coffee thing on June? What was the date for that?
Yeah, we were going to do that on June. Was it
I think,
June 9th?
I think so.
That's the date these things are due, guys.
That's okay.
What are we doing?
June 9th at the Mariah Mitchell, what's the, what,
On
Washington,
Washington Street. We were just going to invite all of the community organizations to come in and talk to each other.
have coffee.
On the big building across the street from the aquarium?
Yep.
Are we planning on doing that as a meeting?
Or count me out.
Well, do we have to have it as a meeting because we'll all be there?
We probably would have to because we'd all be there, but, that was the date that we looked at was. Because if they had it free and it would be a good time to sort of get people together and talking and seeing each other.
Well, if they've got, all these guys get to have, knowing how CPC grants work. We're all sitting in the office, those of us who help out by 4 o'clock on the date the CPC grants are due. They don't have time to come fool around with us at 9 o'clock in the morning on the day that the grants are due, believe me. Every single grant, all the 20 or so grants that come into CBC are coming in at 4 o'clock, 3:59 on the date that they're due. If their grants are due by 4 o'clock on the 9th, they're not coming to a party in the morning.
I think the date is fine, personally.
This is when the RFEI is due.
Yeah,
Right.
and they're not coming to a
That's,
copy if they've got to do it by 4 o'clock.
yeah, but that's an RFEI. I mean, that's not an RFP. There's a big difference. And you're just answering the questions that we sent out there.
Well, not when they're doing deadline, believe me. I've been doing CPC 17 years and it has never
Well,
changed.
Nicole said she already submitted hers. I know she had to sign off, so she can't chime in and say it, but Jericho, Nicole Olson already submitted an RFEI, right?
Yep.
We were saying earlier, and
Look at it.
so, I mean, maybe people won't be so crunched for time.
I don't think there'll be that question time. I think June 9th is a good date. I think
Okay.
it starts off everything.
I
Are-
think if we wait any longer, we won't get anybody.
I
Right.
agree.
Because it'll get too busy. So Joanna, what time did you want to do that?
You want to say 8:30 to 10?
Perfect.
What date is this?
Friday, June 9th.
Friday, June, okay, that's all right.
I'm just looking for our next meeting date.
This
Right.
will,
Well,
this,
that has to
this will be a
posted as
meeting. Yeah,
it has to
so
be posted as a
Yeah, but
meeting,
a meeting date.
agenda will just be meet and greet with human service providers. Done. I don't think,
And then we have to send out an invitation to all of them, to everybody on our
So
list.
We wouldn't, it's not gonna be a Zoom thing.
no, it'll be an
No,
in-person.
In person.
Get back to the date of the real meeting, which is like.
Well, that is a meeting, so that have to
But
be
not for
sort
the
of talked about.
RFEIs.
I think, so we will have the RF,
June 12th.
we will
June
have
12th
the
is
RF,
Monday.
yeah. So we have I believe we have a proposed meeting for the 9th, the meet and greet.
We have a
Then,
meeting for the 9th. and
then
we'll
at
go from there.
12th, well, I think we should
We
get
need
the
to
next
set
one
this
locked
So the
in.
12th is fine.
So then we'll do
What
Monday.
time does that work? Hold on. Joanna,
Looking right now.
And then I'd, like-
John, hold on, let's see. John, would the 12th work for you? Bert, you?
Bert
Sue,
left
you?
his chair.
The 12, no, I am gone, I am off the island from the 12th through the 17th.
Can't wait.
Okay.
The
Bert,
12th is not good for me either.
okay, how about
14th,
the 14th?
Yep.
the Wednesday.
Yeah.
John, go to the police station or something?
No, he's gonna
Oh,
be
he's gonna
away.
be away.
I got the.
I'll be away.
Yep, Bert,
He's not there.
Not there.
Good for me.
I'm gonna keep harassing him until he answers.
He left the building.
No, he didn't. He did what Sue and I wanted.
Elvis has left the room.
so the 9th,
What time of day are we looking at on the
It'll be
13th?
the afternoon. Right, everybody afternoon?
Yep, what, can we do 4 o'clock?
this is on the 14th.
Yep.
When are the,
Or 3 o'clock?
Huh?
I don't know.
Or 3 o'clock?
Why don't we do 3
Which
because
would be better?
three is better, it's better.
Yeah, because we,
maybe a 2-hour meeting.
Anne would like to go home, but
And it's not a Tuesday or Thursday when you're tied out elsewhere.
that's right. Gotta be honest.
Yeah, so 14th at 3.
Will be the next meeting. Do we have, so
We
that'll
have to
be,
make sure that Bert can be a part of it.
I mean, I think if,
Yeah, I think chair. Yeah. he went to he went to the,
the little CRC members room.
yes,
So tentatively the 9th, again, the 14th,
well, the
The-
9th is a go. It's a definite go.
the,
Well, here's my problem. Location.
So what time on the 9th?
We can't have it there.
9th,
That's a.
8:30 to 10.
Joanna, is that building not handicap accessible?
If it's not,
No, it's not handicap accessible.
then we cannot have it
But-
there.
it's gonna be a public meeting.
You cannot have it someplace that's not handicap accessible. I've been through this for decades.
Do we have a portable ramp that could be put?
That's not acceptable under state law.
Well, we have we have an exemption.
You don't have an exemption from AAB, which is handicap accessibility. And we are a town entity. That's the difference.
Okay.
If we were
let's
not a
slow
town
down.
entity, we'd be whatever, we can, somebody could sue us. But if we're not, if we're a town entity and you're having something that involves this committee, it has to be held in a handicap accessible location.
Okay.
Okay. So we gotta figure out where else.
Well, this is lovely.
I mean,
And there is a ramp there.
this is the only space I can count on to have.
Just doesn't have the,
Ambiance.
the feeling of-
This is what most nonprofits look like.
Right.
True.
Let's have a nice homey bit of asbestos going in it, so.
Well, Joanna, you and I will work on a location.
Okay.
So then lined
We
up
have the
now,
14th.
June 9th and June 14th. Bert, does June 14th, were we thinking 3?
Yeah,
3
o'clock,
PM.
14th.
Wednesday. We're gonna have to start running that air conditioner. I know it's hot.
I just said the same thing to Bert at the end of the meeting, you missed it.
Ridiculous. Well, it works, but the one problem, I've been in here many meetings with that thing going. We'll have to sit over there because you
So
cannot
loud.
hear anything.
Yeah.
It's going.
No, they really.
Bert, does that work for you, the 14th?
For me,
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna be at my first CAV reunion that week, so it doesn't make any difference to me what day you pick.
So that's.
So
two
Bert,
That's how
different-
it is.
We've got a quorum.
We have a quorum as long as everybody else is here.
I mean, we've got to hold these meetings on a regular time frame,
Like a regular schedule. That would be amazing.
or just like we
Right now, this is.
Well, I know we gotta rush through this, but
We're gonna rush through this right now.
But
So,
why can't we just do it on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock?
because we
Because
can't do it every
because
Wednesday at 3.
I have housing authority meetings on certain days. Certain Wednesdays, and it's up to our director who comes from Dennis.
I think
And I have doctor's appointments on the, every other week on the mainland.
my proposal for this right now
So the
we
14th,
is that
we have it the 14th at 3 o'clock. Let's just get through these next couple. We want to get it out on the,
I would feel significantly more comfortable if we at least block out a time for like with the RFPs coming back, because I want to make sure we have
that's
that
what
all
we're talking
locked
about
out.
right now.
So like,
No, I know, but we've only gotten to one date. We've got the 14th secured, right?
Okay.
And then we're saying that the RFP is gonna go out the following
22nd.
22nd, right?
The 29th.
So it should be posted for the 22nd. Right, so.
which
yes.
means the finalized RFP
So
must,
it's being posted for the 22nd,
And the 20.
and it goes, so the 29th, the 22nd, and we have to do 3 weeks, is
We
that
have
what
to
we
wait
said?
8 days, which would be the 7th, but that's also the
Okay.
4th of July week and whatever.
That's okay.
so
So
we're-
we
we
give
were
them-
talking about the 10th, or
Okay,
the
then-
17th.
No, we're gonna get that in on the 10th as our date for them to be in.
Hold on.
we discussed
We
a
discussed
different
that
date.
already. The deadline is
17th.
the 17th. Because we're not gonna make it try to
22.
get a deadline during that week, that first week. So we were gonna.
First week of what, 4th of July?
Yes,
The next following week?
The following week is the 14th for a deadline.
So
Is
1
when we
week
mentioned
after
it.
4th and 2 weeks after, so 4th of July is midweek.
So then
So we're talking
collect,
about not the week of the 7th, you're talking, you want to give them one whole extra week.
Yes.
To the 17th.
Monday, the 17th, which gives us 6 weeks before the September 1st. Make a decision and get all the paperwork done. And that's.
Does the 17th work for Joanna?
The
Or
17th of what?
July?
to discuss RFPs that we've received.
I'm off island that week. And possibly inaccessible.
Wow. Doing someplace nice.
No, I'm going to a 2-week residency for graduate school.
It's not a great day.
Okay,
And then the Wednesday, the 19th.
Yes, I could do that.
Wednesday seems to be pretty much it.
well, it doesn't know, because I have, depends on how it is.
The 19th work?
I'm pretty sure I have.
We,
Yeah, just hold on, this is the.
And then, so that's a full month from the 14th.
Yeah,
It doesn't
Okay.
even until the 22nd.
I think for a new grant that requires some additional administrative legwork, a little longer for better, more broad RFPs is better if we have the 6 weeks to then evaluate them.
So you want to do the Thursday, the 20th then?
No, we talked about the
Oh, okay, I can't
19th.
do it.
Did the 19th? Oh, yeah. Do you have,
No, but we
Okay.
can at the end.
Well, why don't we tentatively go to the 19th? If somebody's got a conflict, we'll have to deal with it.
yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, what
As
time?
is, we've got-
3 o'clock again. I guess.
Yes.
No, because I have doctor's appointments every other week off on.
That's what I'm saying. For tentatively schedule it for the 19th at 3 o'clock, and then we'll see where everybody is, get a little closer to this thing.
And we'll have some idea of how many grant requests we're gonna have coming in from the RFEI. Once the RFEI is, we can have on the 14th, discuss roughly how many days we think we're gonna need to evaluate those. And then block that time out now so we can get all the time problems out.
Right, remember that we're meeting on July 9th, 14th.
Correct. Well, that's the tentative one, but we'll have the RFEIs,
14th Is the deadline.
we'll have the RF.
Meeting date is the what's.
We'll have the RFEIs in on the, before the 14th meeting, so we'll know
No,
how,
shoot, I'm talking about July. You're going back on.
yeah,
June.
yeah,
June, they come in by the 9th.
yes.
We meet on Monday, the 12th. The.
Is that what we landed on? I thought we switched that to the 14th.
14th.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And then it goes in the paper, the 22nd, 29th. We give them an extra week in there. They're due on the 14th of July.
And we
And then
tentatively
we
have them
meet
July
tentatively On
19th.
the 19th, Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
And then one of the topics we can have on the 14th will be
Which 14th?
June 14th. So on June 14th, one of the agenda items we can have is roughly planning out the meeting times we're going to have to evaluate them, because we'll know to some degree how many applicants are coming in from the RFEIs. I'd feel much more comfortable if we spend some time well ahead of time to schedule this stuff all in, because that's when the time crunch comes, and in the middle of summer, it's significantly harder to reschedule.
And we can't be flying by the seat of our pants,
Agreed.
changing meetings. But July 14th is best deal to me, just that I.
Fantastic day to hold a meeting.
Main Street with the.
It's also Flag Day.
Is it?
Oh, that's right.
June 14th. Oh, we're talking
14th is
July.
Flag Day. July 14th is Bastille Day.
Joanna, can I ask you something looking forward into July, since I know that, I know what my schedule gets very busy when my boss comes into town. How does yours?
Yes.
Nonprofits go in? Do you have scheduled things towards the end of July that we should be aware of?
Events.
Yes, I do, but they're not in the day.
Okay.
And my events are that weekend, but I don't have to be there until.
So
I
then-
mean, the week of the 27th that's the only week that I really can't do much. The last week of July.
So then we'll have,
So this is where the key comes into this, is that discussion, getting people in if we're gonna interview anybody in the first week of August. So if you can look, Joanna, and sort of get back to me, anybody, if they can look and see what their schedules are looking, personal schedules and everything for the first couple of weeks of August.
Not
That would
the
be-
first week.
I'm just asking everybody to look at it and send us in an email with whether your dates are gonna conflict with anything. Okay, are you back?
I'm back. The
Okay.
last week in July and the first 2 weeks of August are.
and if we can,
So if we can get that, hold on, if we can get that in from everybody, that would give us a good idea of what we could look at for scheduling. And we could actually reach out to these organizations too, because everybody's gonna sort of have a busy schedule.
And I-
then we can do on dates.
I think if we can give a range of dates when we send out the RFP for when any potential interview, that'll help them as well. Be like, we intend to do interviews or follow-ups presentations
We can put a
between these
memo
2
at the
weeks.
beginning of
Yeah,
it, as soon as we get this information in. That would be great, and then we can work from there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's super helpful for the nonprofit end. I know sometimes as an applicant, it's been like, oh, can you meet tomorrow and it's like. A little overwhelming getting that.
Advanced planning's good for everyone.
We should
Yes.
be able to get this out. We should be able to get it designated between this third and fourth week of August.
Yeah.
We start in the first week of September, which would be awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I have to go, everybody.
I gotta go.
Cool.
check.
Nobody can go until we get a.
Motion to
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Second,
Okay. Joanna,
Aye.
Don,
aye.
Monica,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Sue.
Hi.
Hi. DI. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you.